Hey guys, this is Jim Fuge, and I'm going to teach Helter Skelter the lead break, and there's also a riff afterwards when he's singing, because I think it's a great lead break, and I think a lot of people don't get it right for a lot of reasons, but I just want to teach it exactly off the record, because that's what we do here on Guitar by Jimmy, and I think my website is here. I'm going to finally get this right, I think. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it's probably Paul playing guitar in this, because it sounds like Paul. It was the White Album, it's his song, and he's probably doing a lot of their own stuff, you know. So it sounds like Paul's playing too, so that's probably the main reason why I say that. But the funny thing about this lead break is it's not straightforward. It's a little tricky to play. It's a little bit tongue twisty to play. And it's just actually one of those lead breaks, albeit a quick one, where he has, there's more notes in it than meets the ear. There's actually more notes in this lead break than what it sounds like. So let me point it out in today's free guitar lesson from Guitar by Jimmy. So we got So he does this first, the B and E, then the chords go to A while he's playing the lead break. So he bends up to an A, then he comes back to a G. Not too much of a bend. Little wiggle. So now, here's the funny part. The next part sounds like this. But believe it or not, it's not. Can you believe that? It's not D, E, D. It's not that. There's actually an extra E note in it. So what he does is he starts with a pre-bend to E. This is why this one little quick 20-second lead break is not so simple. Watch when we do it up to speed. So it's E, D, E, D. There's an extra E note in it. Then he pre-bends to an A note. Almost a pre-bend, I should say. Little slight bend in there. But this is a pre-bend. So it's A, G, back to the E, and then B to C sharp. So it sounds like this. B to C sharp. Okay, so far what's tricky about this lead break, and this is the best position to play this in, I've thought about this for quite some time, and of course I've listened to it hundreds of times. The funny part about this lead break is you have to do a lot of bending with your first finger. It's very kind of little awkward, and it's quick. So when we do it up to speed, you'll see what I mean. And then the next part is, so we got this, and then this, it's just like the beginning. This sounds like this. But it's not. There's an extra A note in this, just like the beginning. It's, believe it or not. So now that you know this, go back and listen to it. It's hard to hear, but it's in there. And that's pre-bent. Then he goes, little wiggle there. So slowly, we'll do it slowly. Little wiggle. Sorry, I stretched a little too high. Great song. So it sounds crazy, right? But if you listen to it fast, listen to it now. We'll do it up to speed. Yeah. It's actually hard. See, I'm even making a mistake myself, especially this last part, because it gets a lot of notes in there, McCartney. And it's fast. And there's no other way to do it but with your first finger. So it's awkward bending. So one more time. Yeah. It's actually a lot trickier than it sounds. When I get to the... So, let's see. So that's the lead break, right? I'll try it again later. Don't you want me to make you? This riff is great. Okay? Okay. Okay. Now he slides from this D down to an A. It's great. McCartney, man. Sounds so much like him. Okay. Then to an E. Isn't that great? So after the E note, okay, then it sounds like this, but it's actually not. It's actually this D. He just caught it at the right spot. I be honest with you, I think that was totally by accident, but it came out great. He caught the harmonic here of an octave higher. Right, and then he goes back to the, and then he goes, excuse me. So it's, so after the, he waits a little bit, then he goes E, G. Okay, so let's try that slow. Don't you want me to make you? Isn't that great? So you caught it. Okay, so let's go back to the leap. Isn't that great? That slide back from the D to the A is great. Isn't that great? Okay, so 'cause here she comes. Yeah. Try it. It's a lot harder than you think, especially this. Crazy. And isn't that amazing? There's an extra note here. There's an extra note here. You wouldn't think it, but it is. So that's where you can't take the Beatles for granted. They're tricky guys, man. You never take them for granted. And the other band that falls into that category, well, a few other ones, but Led Zeppelin, of course. You know, guys, I'm a big Zeppelin fan. And Page is also a tricky guy, as you saw from the hot dog solo, right? I mean, is that tricky or what? The stuff he's doing in that. So let's go to the other part. But don't you want me to make you? Isn't that great? So slow down. That's that effect. Do you hear that? And this is before Steve Vai was doing that kind of stuff. That was before Steve Vai, right? Because Steve Vai does that sometimes, that effect. So, pretty cool, man. 68, the Beatles. Come on, man. So, that is the free lesson for today, guys. And that is Helter Skelter. I wanted to show it because, number one, it's such a great little lead break. And sometimes it's these quick little lead breaks that are 10, 20 seconds long that we often take for granted and don't realize really all the little extra notes that are going on in the inflection and how things are being played. And then, most importantly, the genius of the Beatles and McCartney as a guitar player. I mean, pretty darn cool. And when now that you learned it off the record, the Guitar by Jimmy way, try it, and you'll see that it's really not an easy lead break to play up to speed. You know, especially because you're constantly bending with this first finger. It's kind of awkward. You know, once in a while, not too bad. But to keep doing it, it's like really weird. You know what I mean? So, and you got to be quick. You know, so when you get it up to speed, try it, and you'll I think you'll have a new appreciation for McCartney as a guitar player, as well as the Beatles in general. So that's Helter Skelter, the lead break off the record, the guitar solo, as well as that little thing that he does after, which I think is equally as great, by the way, and I'm sure you do too. I just love this part. Isn't that great? And you can hear him come down. You hear that effect, you know, when he's playing it. So, I'm Jim Fuge, and this is guitarbyjimi.com. I hope you check out my website, Guitar by Jimmy, and check out, I have a lot of Beatles and Led Zeppelin on there, and I'm adding a lot more, actually, constantly adding a lot more. I'm just finishing Over the Hills and Far Away, actually, which I'm telling you, man, nobody has that right. I've watched a lot of people try and get it, but there's so much going on in that lead break that I don't think people realize. Again, well, this is where the Led Zeppelin was like the Beatles, the genius of Jimmy Page, and one of these guys are just not to be understated and taken for granted. You should always assume they're very, very tricky. And believe it or not, although Over the Hills Far Away is not it's not an easy lead break. It's, you know, it is a lot trickier than I think people realize on YouTube or whoever's playing it. There's a lot of stuff in that I've never seen anybody get right. So look for that on my website. It's coming very soon, and some other cool stuff too. I'm going to try and do some Leonard Skinner too, and maybe some Eagles. I've always wanted to do Hotel California off the record. Should really show how it's played properly. I mean, Joe Walsh is a great guitar player, fantastic guitar player. So things like that. I'm going to try and branch out into some other groups. But I've always wanted to cover the Beatles and Led Zeppelin first because they have such a catalog, and they're just so great, you know, to learn truly off the record. So look out for Over the Hills and Far Away soon, and I'll see you guys on the next video. And I will also put some free stuff out continuously because just to keep everybody happy and talk about music, man. It's a lot of fun. So, and thank you for your support. Feel free to comment and share this video and other videos with your friends and all that stuff, and like it and whatever, however people do that these days. And thanks again for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Rock on, guitarbyjimi.com. Thanks, guys.